This is the next part, and I have trouble. Trouble. There it is, what I wanted to paste. We talk about this rule again. Again, you can scout with a worker. You even can scout for hidden bases with a marine, as long as you do not look at the marine. This is the staircase step 1. But supply structures and adding supply structures are the same for every race. And for Terran,
Command center upgrade
I strongly
complete.
recommend using the Terran-Supply-Trick, because this will accomplish two things. You will never get supply blocked, because you build 2 supply structures at one time for every base you have. This is not completely saturated, so you're only allowed to build 3 depots at a time. But I only built 2 depots, so I'm within the rules. And you will see I will never get supply blocked. You're allowed to take the watchtowers in the staircase step 1, step 2, and always in every the staircase step. And you're allowed to scout with a marine over the minimap, because I do not look at my army. I just move it over the minimap. And dying to a hidden base is very ugly. It feels bad for me. So the Terran-Supply-Trick again, idle worker, you will never get supply blocked. And the second very important step in this for Terran is every idle worker, and you will have a lot of them, and if you begin with Terran, will blink here. So if you take a look at this idle worker symbol, you see, okay, now we can build depots, and you will see, oh my god, I missed a worker at a barracks or at a command center and stuff like that. And I know this waiting time was too much, but you can see the idle worker technique is giving me always enough supply. For Protoss, you will you can do it with a warp-in drill. There's a video in the description below. And for Zerg, you can do it with the macro cycle for Zerg, sometimes called Occo cycle. When you inject, you build 1 overlord per saturated base. If you have 3 saturated bases, then you build 3 overlords. If you have 2 saturated bases, 2 overlords and stuff like that. But for Zerg, it's okay to have a little bit of oversupply. So if you have only 2 saturated bases and you take a look at the right hand side on this screen here, and you see, oh, it's only plus 10 or plus 15, you could easily build 3 overlords for 2 saturated bases. In the steps 1 and 2, you try just to build overlords and look at the right hand side of the screen, or the top of the screen here. That's very important. But in step 3 you have the warp-in drill, the Occo cycle, and the Terran-Supply-Tricks works for every the staircase step. But the rules is as I've shown it to you, and if you can read it in the Google spreadsheet as well. Thanks very much for listening, and we see you guys in the next part.